Hello and hello and hello. You catch me today, still pondering my thoughts, still thinking about what I went through in family court. And I think more that it was professional gaslighting at its finest. Not just one person, not just one role, but the whole damn circus. Officers, social workers, solicitors, guardians, even a judge. All of them playing their little part in the same tired script. The message was crystal clear though. If you're a mother, you can fuck up again and again, and they'll hand you another lifeline. If you're a dad, you so much as sneeze the wrong way, you're finished. It hurts me to say that. Tell me that isn't a double standard. I've sat in not just my own hearing, but other hearings where I've had no safeguarding concerns, no mental health issues, nothing against me, and yet I was treated like I was the problem. Meanwhile, contacts kept being blocked, orders ignored, and professionals struggled like it was all fine. And when I say struggled, I mean they made nothing of it at all. They said it was normal behaviour. When my daughter didn't want to come into a room with me, that's normal behaviour. So the gaslighting, you're saying this is normal, and it's like not, and it's clearly not. So you try going back to court, you're threatened with losing your kids to foster care. So you pick your poison. No overnights, no contact, or another independent assessment that ends up looking suspiciously like the last 5 wasted years. And don't get me started on the bullshit about independent social workers. A social worker is a social worker, whether it be a social worker that works for a county or could be Greenwich, could be Tower Hamlets, could be that. So that could be a CAFCAS officer, could be S officer, or both of them are social workers. They're not qualified or legally trained to call out what psychologists can. A psychologist is a psychologist. One can actually clinically assess why a child is falling apart, and the other just regurgitates the same narrative that keeps dads on the back foot. But they'll keep pushing for the independent social worker because it keeps them, that little merry-go-round going round, spinning round. Meanwhile, the emotional harm, which is right there, right in front of everybody, acknowledged even by previous judges, but brushed under the rug. If a father had dished out this kind of harm, I mean, if I'd done it to my daughter, the child would be removed without a hesitation. But because it's mum, we'll call it normal behaviour. Normal. Give me a break. Normal. A child who's been emotionally battered doesn't act like a normal kid, unless by normal you mean brainwashed, anxious, and constantly second-guessing themselves. And people wonder why fathers hit breaking point, why so many men spiral into despair. The system corners you, gaslights you, and then calls you unstable when you get angry about it. I'll tell you what made the difference for me. Appealing decisions that you didn't agree with, that didn't make logical sense. It wasn't easy, it wasn't pretty, but it was the only way I called back something resembling justice. And here's a tip. Base it on facts. Base it on solid legal errors, and you don't stand a chance. If not, you're ruined. The system loves to talk about being child-focused. Sure, in most cases maybe it is, but in outliers, the cases like this, like mine, child-focused magically translates into as long as dad gets shafted, we're happy. Because if it's mum screwing up, suddenly the child's best interest looks a lot like covering mum's ass with fucking dairy milk or Nutella, whichever floats your boat. And then what happens down the line? Your kid grows up, mistrusting you, undermining you, only ringing you when they want cash or a new gadget. Meanwhile, you're expected to sit there like a saint. No bitterness, no anger, just unconditional love, while modeling respect for the other parent who gave you nothing but contempt. Because if you don't, you're difficult. If she doesn't, it's business as usual. And here's the thing that really twists my head. It's not just men. I get it. I mainly see men getting smashed to pieces by family court because they're the ones usually on the back foot. But women do get fucked over. I've seen it. Not too often, not as much, not as blatantly, but it happens. I'll deny that. But when it does happen, it's the same pattern. You can be squeaky clean. You can do everything right. They'll tell you, you jump through the hoops of fire with a smile on your face. Tick every single box. Behave exactly the way you've been told to do. Still not good enough. Still, the rules change halfway through. The goalposts move. The narrative bends, and why? Because the professionals have already decided where they want this to land. And they'll make the evidence, they'll make it fit. That's the kicker. That's the bit that fucking everyone gets their head torn off a bit. You can't have no concerns against, they can't have no concerns. You have no concerns against you, no findings against you, no reason in law why you shouldn't be in a child's life, or at least see the child. But if the system decides it doesn't want you to, then guess what? You won't. No explanation, nothing makes sense. Consistent standard, just nope, not good enough. Not good enough for who? Not good enough for what? They never tell you. So yeah, don't tell me like it's fair, because in a lot of cases I do believe it is fair, but you get the anomalies, it isn't, and that don't can't tell me it's always in the child's best interest. Don't insult my intelligence. I mean, God, if it was truly about what the child, if it was truly about that, the decisions wouldn't look so suspiciously convenient for the parent who's doing all the blocking. This is about control. It's about protecting narratives. It's about professionals looking like they've managed a case, but not protecting children from the harm of, or ensuring they have both parents. Because if they really, really, really cared about that, then half the cases that I've seen, my own personal case, would have gone the other way. Kids would have had proper relationships with both parents, and both mums and dads be treated equally, but they're not. They never are. And that's why people like me, people who've lived through it, this madness, don't buy the nice polished story. We know better. We've watched them move the goalposts in real time. We've had the rules rewritten on the fly. And we've been told one thing in writing and another thing in court. And at the end of all of it, the message is the same. You don't see your kid because we don't want you to. And that's it. That's the game. And if you don't laugh at this insanity, you're drowning it. I mean, how can they say a psychologist is not as an independent social worker when I was asking for one? I was asking for a psychologist. They wouldn't give me one. They'd give me an independent social worker. And they keep saying the same, they say the same spiel. But the independent social worker is not qualified. They wanted to do a parenting assessment on me. An assessment on what parenting? They've not seen me parenting. There's no complaints about my parenting, but you're going to assess me anyway. So you can criticise me because an assessment is there. There's going to be a criticism. The person who's doing all the damaging behaviour, we're not going to assess her. It's not right.